I'd like to call the meeting to order, and we will approve the minutes from the February 1st, 2022 meeting. All right. So we'll do the communication on November 17, 2021 from Mary Festa requesting a discussion on the speeding vehicles and traffic concerns at the intersection of Jefferson and Washington Avenue. Yes, we can wait. Thank you.
I want to apologize for not being at the last meeting. I didn't get the letter until after the meeting, although I know better, so now I'll check the agenda to see if I'm on.
That's
so
fine.
I do apologize if I wasted your time, because I was on the agenda last
If you can just speak up just a little bit because of the mouse.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I was apologizing for wasting your time at the meeting last week. This is the third time I've been here, and I know there was a gentleman that said he was going to have some research done, engineering research done on that that section, Washington, Jefferson area. I haven't seen any, but I just wanted to know the update on that.
Okay, was that the officer who was here the last time?
Last time, that would be January. Yeah, I think it was, you look a little different. So, could be
So
the
we
beard.
actually just finished a meeting earlier in the week with our engineering consultant. So since the request originated, our engineering consultant performed an analysis of the existing location, a site visit. They've developed a set of recommendations that they've put forward to the city. Some of them are short-term actionable recommendations, whereas others are longer-term that will require some significant funding. So right now we're looking to piece together funding sources and come back with the concrete timeline and plan. So we should be fully wrapped up with this in the coming weeks once we just verify funding with the city manager, and that'll dictate how we can proceed. So I'd say in the short term you will see things like pavement markings, signage, sort of low-cost enhancements, and then longer term we're looking at how to modify the geometry of that area to reduce speeding and improve safety. So if we could grab your contact after this as well, we'd love to meet with you once we have everything in order and walk through it with you.
Okay, great. Thank you. I want to say thank you for the commission to listen and taking those actionable items, and I think even the signs will help. I'm hopeful. So I'll provide you with my contact info.
Mary, actually, I can recommend that, so if you sign in, it's, and you just put your phone number there, I will share that with Alex.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
On to the next.
Make a motion.
Make a motion.
Motion to move this to the next meeting.
I'll second.
All in favor? Say all in favor.
I'm sorry?
Ask all in favor.
Oh, I'm sorry, all in favor?
Aye.
I'm new at this. I apologize. All right, so the next on the agenda is communication of January 13, 2022 for Rodney Gobin of 30 Summit Ave, requesting a discussion of the traffic issues of the Soldiers Home in Summit Ave.
So similar to the item that we just heard before us, this item is also undergoing an evaluation by our engineering consultant. Right now, we are considering traffic calming measures like low-rise speed humps, improved pavement markings, and flashing signage. Our engineer is producing a cost estimate as well as an illustrative plan that the city will then bring forward to the commission at our next meeting.
Motion to move this item to the next meeting.
All in favor?
Oh, second.
I'll second that.
I'm sorry.
Don't worry.
Way ahead of the game.
Ask all in favor.
No, I just don't know what I'm doing. All right, the next on the agenda is public hearing regarding the Eastern Avenue Griffin Way improvements proposal to install accurate traffic signals and improve operations and safety at the intersection, to extend curbing and sidewalks from Eastern Avenue and around the intersection corners of Griffin Way, and to make the crosswalks and sidewalks ADA compliant.
Is there anyone here from the public that wishes to speak?
How about? Hi, I'm Kathleen Pearson. I'm a program manager with MWRA. I'm here with Jeff McLaughlin from Public Affairs and our traffic consultant, Jack Martin from Stantec. We're here to give a brief presentation on the project and then open up for questions or comments for the public.
hope you don't mind if I'd like to be mobile so I can get to the computer for one thing. Thank you for, if it please the council, for hearing our presentation on the intersection and traffic stabilization improvements. Nothing much has changed since we spoke last month, but I'll just run through it again for those who haven't had a chance to observe it. At the intersection of Eastern Ave and Griffin Way, we have designed an actuated traffic signal whose detection will be provided by a traffic camera for detection only, no red light detection or anything like that, but for traffic detection mounted on the top of a strain pole at the northeast corner of the intersection. The opposite strain pole will be at the southwest corner of the intersection. So there are no mast arms, just two strain poles, wire between them, and the signal faces will be suspended for all four directions. There'll be an advanced left turn phase for the northbound traffic turning into Griffin Way, an exclusive pedestrian phase for the 3 crosswalks for pedestrians and other users of the intersection. I mentioned the video detection from the camera mounted on the strain pole, and emergency preemption as a standard for emergency vehicles. The existing 4-lane cross-section will be maintained. We will be extending sidewalk and curb at these corners to reduce the distance for the crossing, and any installation of equipment, the sidewalks that are impacted by that will also be reconstructed. So that's the construction in a nutshell. We have a tentative timeline for the development of the project. If the project is approved, it would go to advertisement in April of '22. It would be awarded 2 months later in June. The construction would start a month after the contract award, and the projected construction would be completed in April of next year. We have worked with the city's peer reviewer, TEC, to address comments they had on the recent submission to address repositioning equipment so that full ADA access is provided and accessible. Yeah, just to sum, during the construction of the project, traffic would be maintained on Eastern Way. Construction would be limited to off-peak hours so that it doesn't get tied up during the morning and evening peak hours. Any traffic control that is set up to manage construction would be taken down every day. There would be no long-term setups, and all lanes would be open when there's no construction, active construction. So that would be the traffic management during construction. I believe those are all the items I have today. If so, I'll welcome any questions or comments that the commission may have.
Great, thank you.
I just had a question. I couldn't really see in it. You mentioned a left turn phase. It looked like you were pointing on Eastern Ave. Yeah.
So, yeah, the left turn phase would be... To the microphone? No, to the microphone. That's why I take it up in the first place, because I know I have to move around with it. Yes. The advanced left turn phase is for the northbound left, the Eastern Ave into Griffin Way.
So would that be a left turn only lane?
No, there would be a it would be a lead phase.
Straight and left.
Yes,
Okay.
lead phase for any queued vehicles.
Okay.
But no, there are no dedicated turn bays planned.
So during the last meeting, we had requested revisions to the location of the pedestrian signal base and pole, as well as the push-button locations to ensure ADA compliance. It's really imperative that residents of all abilities can use the intersection comfortably and safely. So can you just please confirm that you've adjusted the plans to reflect those changes that were requested?
Yes, those plans that they're in the process of, I mean, the editing is going on concurrently right now. So, but we will be responding to the comments that were issued, and we will be addressing those to provide the ADA access.
So you'll be making those changes that
Oh,
were
absolutely,
requested?
yes.
Okay.
No, we have reviewed all the comments. We see no problem with making the necessary adjustments to the placement of the equipment so that full ADA access is provided.
Excellent, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Do you have any further questions for us? No? Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, I do have one additional question. You may have captured this already. Could you just talk a little bit to your abutter engagement plans for the project, since there are some freight and industrial interests along the corridor?
I had Jeff McLaughlin, MWRA. I had met with the abutters, both TD and over the Yankee. Met with them, provided the plans to them. They didn't really have any questions, and across the way as well. So I think, I left them with the plans, and they never called me or anything like that. So I think we're pretty good with the abutters.
Okay, excellent, thank you.
Please sign in.
I did,
Okay,
yes, thank you.
perfect, thank you.
All right, so I would make a motion to approve the request pursuant to the revised plan set that we'll be receiving that shows the ADA modifications that were requested by the commission.
A second it.
All in favor?
Aye,
Thank you. All right,
thank you.
We moving on?
Next item.
All right, the next item is a handicap sign application for February 1st, 2022 for Mary Walsh at 88 Carroll Street.
Mary, are you here? No. Mary Walsh? Walsh?
Nope.
Want to make a motion to table until she's able to?
Motion to table this item to next month's meeting.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
I remember. All right, the next is a handicap sign application for February 8th, 2022 for Fatu Bianca, I apologize, 139 Chestnut Street? I apologize, miss.
Good evening. My name is Fatu Bajinka. I live in 139 Chestnut Street, apartment 3 in Chelsea. So I applied for the handicap parking in Chelsea because Chelsea parking is the street is very horrible to park. I can't park. I have both my knees. I've been diagnosed with osteoarthritis and also have plantar fasciitis. So I can go to steps and I can park. Most of the time when I came from work, I have to park under the bridge. And I can, even my shopping, I gotta carry them by myself. Sometimes I park in the middle of the street so that I can, take my stuff from the car. There's a lady that has handicap parking next to my house, but she doesn't move her car. The car is there like 24/7, 7 days a week. So when I come in from work, I don't have nowhere to park, either on the street, on Everett Ave, or under the bridge. And it's very inconvenient for me. I have only young kid, like a 12-year-old, and I do my shopping early in the morning at 7, 8 o'clock. That's the only time I can do shopping. So, and I can walk long distance. I have to use knees bracelet to help me out. So,
Okay.
So for
Thank you.
signage, I have 76, 122, 135 to 142. So I'm gonna, for two, I'm gonna assume you're referring to 135 Chestnut, that your neighbor?
yes,
that has
yes,
it?
next to my, 135, yes. There was another one across the street, adjacent to my apartment, but they took it off. I don't know what happened, but, so,
And your handicap placard expires this year. Will you be renewing it?
yes, because they told me that, because right now, the option they gave me is like either, they're gonna renew it every 6 months, because, two options they gave me is to do knee surgery, which I don't wanna do it, because they said that that's the last option, so every 3 months I had to go and get some shots to help me out a little bit, so I've been diagnosed with this for almost like 5 years, so it's not getting any better.
So one question I did have was, so the one across the street you were saying you're unable to use because it's frequently used by neighbors?
Yes, the one close next to my apartment, the other 135, the lady doesn't move the car. It's just, I know we're supposed to share the space, but she never moves the car. She would rather take a taxi instead of moving that car, because now she knows that I have the handicap parking, so she's not gonna, yeah. So I have difficulties parking in Chelsea. And the Chelsea, the 139 Chestnut is like a free parking. Anybody can park there because there's no like resident parking only. People that work in Broadway, anywhere they work, they park there. So anytime you come in, there's no parking. You can park there like.
Understood, thank you. I would make a motion to approve this request.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye. So the request was approved. It now has to go before City Council at their upcoming meeting. City Council can approve or deny the request. Assuming that it is approved, it'll take us a few weeks in order to have the signs put up at the space. So, 3-4 weeks maximum before the space would be installed, pending council's approval. Yep.
Next agenda is a handicap sign application for February 9th, 2022 for Alicia Albino at 5 Sturgis Street.
I just want to note that there's no handicap placard because the actual registration is for disabled parking, so it's in lieu of the placard.
Oh, okay.
And it's valid
Understood.
until next year.
Do we have any spaces up in that area currently?
Not on Sturgis.
Not on Sturgis.
And I don't know if anyone, he says that he's the homeowner, but I don't know if anyone verified if there was a driveway.
Oh, I looked, I don't think there's a driveway.
Yeah, I didn't see one either. I would make a motion to approve this request.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, communication on February 16, 2022, the council is Judith Garcia requesting that the commission look into reposition all 4 stop signs located at the intersection of Arlington Street and 2nd Street to increase vehicular and pedestrian safety.
So the repositioning of existing stop signs can be done under the purview of DPW. So I don't believe there's any action required by the Traffic and Parking Commission on this request, but we will confer with the Commissioner of Public Works as well as the DPW team to improve the visibility of these stop signs.
So I'll record it as no vote taken.
So no
as
vote
it's not
taken.
necessary.
Okay.
On the agenda is communication February 23rd, 2022 for Mary Davis of JJC-JMC, Chelsea LLC, requesting the review and approval of construction management plan related to the demolition and ground-up construction project of the Eanes apartment redevelopment.
How are you? Thank you.
Thank you.
Mary Davis of JJC-JMC Chelsea LLC. That entity is the joint venture partnership of Joseph J. Corcoran Company and John M. Corcoran Company. So we're the developers of the Chelsea Inez redevelopment. And so just a reminder of the Chelsea Inez redevelopment, we are relocating the current residents of the 96 households and raising those 8 existing structures on the site today and building 330 units in its place, which is split between 2 residential buildings, and then the third building is a precast parking garage. So just to give a little project status update, we submitted for the building permit today, and we expect a financial close in April. And so that triggers the 120-day relocation of the current residents. So we anticipate to start construction in August. So it's been quite a long process for this project. So I think a summary is worthwhile. And so here today I have Matt Therian from Plumhouse Construction, who will be the general contractor, Mike Hartnett from Plumhouse Construction, who will be the general contractor, and Brian Zamolka from Niche Engineering. So we've met with the city twice now with very lengthy meetings on the construction management plan to get some preliminary feedback to inform the process. And so we've gone through quite a few renditions of the construction management plan to where it is today. And then once we got that to a place that we felt had city input and we felt comfortable with, we brought in Niche Engineering to confirm the turning radiuses and the parking relocations. In addition to conversations with city, we spoke with the MBTA as there will be a bus stop relocation of the 112. And so, we spoke with them as well. They felt comfortable with that temporary suspension of that stop, which is right at Willow and Central there. And so the service will continue, just skip that stop, and then once we turn over that precast parking garage and the first residential building at 24 months into construction, that bus stop will be back in service. So I'll hand it over to Matt Therian to run you through just sort of the details of the construction management plan, which runs through abatement, demolition, and the construction process.
So our total construction duration is 35-month schedule, obviously beginning August of 22 and extending to July of 25. The first phase, which we're calling phase 0, is the abatement and demolition phase, and that begins on month 1 to month 10. As you can see on this plan, the blue buildings on the eastern portion of the site is where we're going to begin abatement and demolition. Kind of start off, so with the current site conditions, the site will be surrounded at all public ways with a 36-inch chain link fence with a windscreen on portable precast concrete barriers. There's going to be a total of 8 gates surrounding the site, combination of rolling and swing. All sidewalks surrounding the site are going to be closed and pedestrian traffic will be redirected. The travel lane along Watt Street will be shifted to the center, and resident parking we're proposing to be relocated from the southern side to the northern side to help with constructability purposes. We're proposing along Watt Street to redirect pedestrian traffic from the northern sidewalk from Highland Street to Willow Street. Along Central Ave, we're proposing to direct it from the southern sidewalk from Highland Street to the eastern end of the site. And along Willow Street, we'll redirect to either the eastern or western sidewalks, depending on the actual demolition and construction activities. between Phase 1 and Phase 2. So starting with Phase 0, 0.1, which are the blue buildings on the eastern portion of the site. Trucks are going to travel west down Central Ave and enter the site at the southern gate, which is gate C1. Asbestos and hazardous material containers will be loaded onto tractor trailers, and demo materials will be live loaded into dump trucks. All trucks will travel north on the site and exit through the northwest gate, which is gate C2, and travel south onto Willow Street, and then east onto Central Ave. Phase 0.1 will take place between month 1 and month 3, 3-month total duration. Activities then will shift west to the middle of the site, which we're calling Phase 0.2, which is the green building on the plan. This will take place between months 3 and month 6, a total of 4 months. Trucks will travel west down Central Ave and then turn north onto Willow Street and enter at the northeast gate, which is gate B2. Trucks will be loaded, and then they'll exit to the southern gate, gate B3, and then east down Central Ave. Phase 0.3, which are the purple buildings, that's going to be taking place between months 4 and month 10, total duration of 6 months. Trucks will travel east down Central Ave, enter through the gate at the southwestern corner, which is gate A1. Once loaded, they will travel east on the site, exit through the southern gate, B3, and continue traveling east down Central Ave. For the upper portion of the phase, trucks will travel east down Watt Street, enter the site at gate A3, and then exit the site through gate A. They're going to enter through gate A2 and then exit through A3, and then continue traveling east down Watts, and then south on Will, and then east on Central Ave. You can just go to the next one. So phase 1 is our precast parking garage, which we're calling building C. The total build is 13 months, and this happens between months 4 and months 17. Site prep and foundations for building C will happen between months 4 and month 8, 4.5 months. Work's going to proceed from north to south, and trucks will enter and exit mostly utilizing the southern gate C1. For the structure erection, it's going to take place between months 8 and months 10, a total of 2 months. Each erection phase is roughly 2 weeks and will be erected from north to south. The crane is going to be positioned in the building footprint for phases 1.1 through 1.3, which is the green, blue, and the pink. And then we're going to be positioning the crane in the footprint of building B, which is just west of that across Willow Street, for phase 1.4. We're going to have our tractor trailer trucks that are carrying the precast material travel east down Central Ave and enter the staging area on the site through gate A1. So where we have phase 3 and phase 2, we're going to stage our trucks. Each truck carries one precast member. So we're probably going to have anywhere between 8 and 10 trucks staging within that. And then once we're ready for erection, the tractor trailer trucks will travel east down Central Ave and enter the staging area on the site through gate A1. When needed for erection, they'll exit through gate B1. They'll pull forward onto Central Ave and then back into the crane picking area along Willow Street. Once the trucks have been picked, they'll exit south on Willow Street and east on Central Ave. At this time, Willow Street will be closed to traffic during construction hours only. The southern travel lane on Willow Street will be closed at the intersection of Bellingham Street for all through traffic. Residents will still have access. All traffic on Watt Street, Chester Ave, and Cottage Street will be redirected onto Bellingham Street. The northern travel lane on Willow Street will remain open north of Watt Street intersection. So phase 2 is what we're calling Building B, and this consists of 115 units. It's 5/1, so 1 level of structural steel with 5 levels of wood framing. And this occurs between month 6 and months 24 for a total duration of 18 months. We'll begin site preparation foundations between the month 6 and month 10 for a total of 4 months. Structural steel will be 3.5 weeks between months 10 and month 11. The wood frame is a total duration of 3 months from month 11 to month 14. And then all of our Russ interior fit out and exterior facade work will happen between months 13 and month 24 for a 10-month duration. The building structure is going to be erected, Block A, which is shown in blue, and then we'll move to Block B, which is colored in green, so west to northeast. For Block A, the structural steel and wood deliveries, the trucks are going to be traveling west down Central Ave and enter through Gate B1 and exit west onto Central Ave through Gate A1. For Block B, we have a little bit of a different setup. Structural steel and wood deliveries, the trucks are going to travel west down Central Ave and then back up into Willow Street to Gate B2. Material will be stored in the Building B courtyard where the crane location is shown. Once the trucks are unloaded, they will exit south on Willow Street and then head east onto Central Ave. At this time for Block B, Willow Street, we're proposing Willow Street to be closed to traffic during construction hours only, and only for a limited amount of time during deliveries. So our deliveries take between 1 to 2 hours to unload the trucks, and it happens either once or twice a week, so it's not completely closed the entire duration. For our cranes during structural steel, they'll be on site for the entire duration of the erection. For the wood erection, for levels 2 through 5, they'll only be used to set floor trusses, and that'll occur on a bi-weekly basis. For level 6 in the roof, the crane will be on site daily to set both wall panels and trusses. So phase 3, this is what we're calling Building A. This consists of 215 units. It's kind of a combination of 5/1, which is mainly that dark green portion on the right-hand side of the building, and then there over to the left, red, green, and blue, that is 2/1, so 2 levels of structural steel with 5 levels of wood frame. This building will be constructed between months 10 and months 35 for a total duration of 26 months. Site prep and foundations will occur between months 10 and months 16 for 6 months. Structural steel will be a 3-month duration from months 15 to month 17. Wood frame is a 7-month duration, month 16 to month 23. And then all our roughs, interior fit out, and exterior facade work will occur between months 19 and months 35 for 17 months. The structure erection will occur from Block C to Block F, moving east to west. Structural steel and wood deliveries, the trucks will travel west down Central Ave and enter through Gate B1. Material will be unloaded and placed in the material storage area located in the Building A courtyard or on the decks as needed. Once trucks have been unloaded, they will exit west onto Central Ave through Gate A1. Similar to how we constructed Building B, the structural steel crane will be on site for the entire duration. For wood, levels 2 and 5 will be used to set floor trusses and incur on a bi-weekly basis, but levels 6 and 7 and the roof, The crane will be on site daily to set both wall panels and trusses. So our main material deliveries for concrete, structural steel, wood framing are all going to occur through Central Ave and Willow Streets. Our cranes will have to get into, for both building A and B, will have to get into those courtyards as shown on these plans. So they will have to turn down Watt Street to enter. And Niche Engineering did our turning radiuses to make sure that those cranes can make those turns. But we're trying to stay away from having heavy construction traffic going down Watt Street, because we know it's a residential street, it's a one-way street. So we're trying to keep all that activity along Central Ave and Willow Street. I guess I'll turn around for any questions.
What was the outcome of the turn and radius study? You guys able to make the turn?
Yes.
With the cranes? Because
So-
I know we can't make that turn in our ladder truck, but I wasn't sure how you guys are.
Brian?
Brian Smoka, Niche Engineering. So we ran all the vehicle turns using our auto turn software, typical traffic engineering standards. And for each one of these, we used different size trucks. Anything along Central, working with Matt and his team, they said they needed large trucks coming through here. So we aligned these gates and provided enough space that they'll be able to swing in and do either backup or whatever maneuver they need. To do that, they need to, to provide this room. We also worked with Matt to make sure that any kind of public occupation, they're using the correct highway, federal highway and Massachusetts highway standards, which they are. They're using appropriate crash barriers that are rated for the speeds of the roads. And let's see, anything else regarding the turning radii? What we did encounter during one phase, it's not on this one, I think it might have been on, nope, go up. I think it was the steel, yeah, here we go. I don't think this is the phase, but anyway, there's one where we have to come in and then back down Willow, but only to right here to shoot back up again. That's the biggest impact that throughout the entire project, and I believe that's not very often, right? Yeah. So
what constitutes a large truck?
So these are what we call WB65s. WB65 is a 65-foot long semi-trailer with a 53-foot bed. Your typical smaller truck that you might see is a 30-foot single-unit truck, and then the semi-trailers that they're going to be used range from, 65, 50, and 40, anywhere in that range. So everything that we've discussed, basically the large trucks will be able to get in here, but only the smaller ones through Watts. But as Matt said, they're going to limit the trucks on Watts anyway.
So you're proposing that, at least for the western portion of the site, that there are trucks entering off of Watts on this plan? Am I reading this correctly?
Yes, there's a few coming in through here, and that's because they need material picks over this way.
And so you're confident that that size truck can make the turning radius at Highland and Watts? That's an extremely narrow intersection.
That's correct. So I did work with Matt, and he was indicating to me what size trucks. We did check these as well, and they do work. There may have to be some parking restrictions, but otherwise they do work. One of the main concerns was the cranes coming through, especially that big crane that's not on the sheet. We modeled that, works perfectly.
And you've been out to that intersection?
Yeah, I mean, it's tight. It's definitely tight, but per our modeling software, which is also conservative, it does make it.
And what prevents you from accessing that portion of the site from Central Ave directly?
Crane fix. So for building A, we're constructing the building this way. And for this portion of the building, which is block C and block F, we're gonna have our cranes positioned out here. We're also gonna have some boom lifts in here, and we'll be able to construct this. But once we get to this leg of the building, the crane can no longer pick, because from here to about here is like over 300 feet. So in order to construct this building, the crane needs to be positioned here. So we're gonna have, they're not as big as the cranes that we're gonna have out here in the beginning. So we have some smaller cranes. We're gonna have one right here, and then one down here that fits within the parameters of the building edge and where we have the fence line. So the only way to construct that is to have the cranes in here, so we need to be able to bring them in this way.
And how many truck trips per day or per this duration do you anticipate on Watts?
The crane or the truck deliveries?
The crane and the truck deliveries.
So as much as we can, we're going to try and make all our deliveries along Central Ave and then load it into the building. But, you know, once we get back over here,
right.
There'll be smaller trucks. It's mostly for rough work material, interior finishes, so they're kind of smaller box trucks coming in and out. But we're going to be scheduling them kind of so we're not clogging the street at, you know, high traffic times and everything. But like I said before, we're going to try and make all our deliveries along Central Ave as best as we can.
So how many truck deliveries do you expect off of Watts Street?
I don't have that information right now.
Okay, do you think you could get that to us for our next meeting?
We could.
That'd be appreciated. And then could you confirm just the number of on-street parking spaces that you're proposing to close off through the duration of the project? I think that's important to both viewers at home as well as to residents in the neighborhood.
Yep, fair point. So on Watts Street, we are restricting 36 parking spaces along here. However, gaining 15 spaces on this side. So Matt talked about relocating the parking. We'll be able to gain 15. And I believe it's 27 off of Central that we can't relocate. So and a total of 65 parking spaces will be removed, and then 15 will put back. So total of 50 would be lost.
I had maybe a question or a possible revision with the fence. I'm worried about the sight line for those coming out of Willow Street going on to Central. Is there any way you can maybe kitty corner like you have on Watts and Willow?
Which corner was it?
Willow and Central. I'm nervous with the sight line of people coming out of, southbound from Willow onto Central.
Can we go to the phase 2 plan? Yeah, we should be able to relocate that fence, but there will be a portion of time where we might have to move that fence when we're ripping up the sidewalk to replace it. But for most of the duration, we could change that fence line.
Okay, because you said the fence is mesh, so they can't really see through it, right?
Correct.
Okay. And just in general, I feel like you're supposed to have a sight line, and you're not supposed to have anything within 25 feet of the corner, so
Okay.
if we could kitty corner that back on both sides at that intersection, I think that would be better.
Okay.
Two other kind of questions / comments. This one is relatively, I think, immaterial to your project from a cost perspective, but if you could include a temporary crosswalk across Watts at the northwestern corner of the building. So you're going to be cordoning off the sidewalk on Watts, so pedestrians will need an ADA compliant path to cross to the other side of Watts in order to walk around the construction fencing.
Watts and what street?
Closer to Highland. So if you're a pedestrian that's heading down Watts from Highland, right at that corner, exactly.
So there's a curb cut for a driveway right there?
Yep.
So I guess we could pull it back over here to the...
Yeah, as long as you can achieve a compliant sort
Okay.
of slope on that, that should be fine. And then it's more of a two general traffic circulation questions. So I presume that when Willow Street's closed off to vehicular traffic, like emergency vehicles, the fire department will still be able to access it if there was an emergency that they had to traverse the road to access?
Correct.
Okay. And then I think just from our department's perspective, we're not extremely receptive to detouring vehicles down to Bellingham. So that would divert vehicles to the intersection of Bellingham and Eastern, which is one of the substandard intersections along Eastern Ave with a prevalence of crashes that's really not designed for, it's not safely sort of designed right now. It honestly has to be upgraded. So we'll mull this over between this meeting and next meeting about other circulation paths that might be appropriate, but I did want to share that with you.
Okay. And we do get in a little bit more detail in our construction management plan, logistics, and full TMP that we submitted, so there will be a little bit more detail in there as well.
Great, thank you. Are there any other questions from the commission?
I'm just curious, how much of of Watt Street are you gonna take up with the fence? Are you looking, how narrow are you gonna make Watt Street, I mean?
So we're just moving the fence out to where those resident parking spots were.
And then parking on the other side?
On the other side, and there'll still be the drive aisle in the center.
All right.
So given that this involves the loss of on-street parking and the temporary loss of the bus stop, our formal practice is to move items like these to public hearings. We'll notify abutters. It affords the public a chance to weigh in on the plans before the commission votes formally. So I would make a motion to move this to a public hearing at our April meeting.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye. So we'll meet in April. At that time, we'll hold a public hearing at the beginning of the meeting. And if you could bring any information that we request between now and then, it would be appreciated. But thank you for the presentation.
Okay. Thank you.
The meeting will be adjourned.